So do you need to gain weight? Are you terrified of doing it in eating disorder recovery? Are you stuck? Are you going around in circles? Are you thinking about it a lot but not taking any action? If you relate, this video is for you, and I'm going to talk about 7 mindset shifts that can be massively helpful in embracing weight restoration in eating disorder recovery. I've been on my own weight restoration journey when I recovered from an eating disorder many years ago. I am Harriet Frew. This is the Eating Disorder Therapist podcast. So let's dive in. Okay, so number 1, fear. You will be absolutely fearful about weight gain because you've probably become very used to your existing body. It's become very normal. And of course, as humans, we don't like change. We love the familiar. Any change can feel just terrifying. It can bring up resistance. We want to stay the same because as humans, we are designed for survival. And that often means doing things in a predictable, safe way because this is what we know. So it's just starting to realize in a way that this fear that you have is very linked into this survival instinct, okay? So you probably recognize other areas of your life where you faced a fear. For example, for me, when I was younger, I used to hate doing public speaking. I used to hate doing presentations. I used to dread them like anything. Nowadays, I'm pretty comfortable. I might get a bit of anxiety if I have to do a presentation, but on the whole, I quite enjoy it. But I used to anticipate so many really bad things happening if I did a presentation. But the only way to get through that was actually like taking the action, experiencing the new thing and realizing so many of those fears that I anticipated, those catastrophes that were going to happen, most of them didn't happen. I didn't trip up. I didn't forget everything. I didn't delete my whole presentation. People in the audience didn't boo me off stage. A lot of that was just unrealistic fears, catastrophization. It didn't actually happen. So number 1 is just realizing this fear that you're experiencing is your brain's way of protecting you, but it doesn't mean that it is real and that it needs to be listened to. And what I would say to you is really think about times in the past and areas of your life where you have overcome something that's quite difficult and you have faced the fear anyway, and you have done it and you've lived through it and you've come through the other side and you have evidence to recognize that it was not nearly as bad as you thought. Okay, so that's number 1. Just recognize in a way that that is what the fear is, and you don't have to take it so seriously. Okay, number 2. So thinking about change again and again and again without doing any action often doesn't work. It's like standing on the bungee jump platform. I've never done a bungee jump, but I still quite like this way of looking at it. It's like standing on the bungee jump platform, looking down, maybe watching loads of videos about bungee jumps, listening to podcasts about it, reading articles about it, but actually never getting on the bungee platform and taking the leap. So we can think about things so much. We can think about it in detail. We can think about all the possibilities. We can think about it and read about it till the cows come home. But actually, until we take a bit of action, that is only the time where you will gain confidence and you will start to rewire your brain. You can't think your way into confidence. And I think that's what we often think. We think, I need to become confident and I need to get comfortable with weight gain and then I will do it. But actually getting comfortable is only going to come through the action. And I guess the important thing is that you don't need to take a massive dramatic step on day 1. I mean, again, if you want to do that, go for it. Because there is no right or wrong way to recover. Some people really love going all in and just, completely allowing themselves full freedom to eat. Now, of course, that is the end goal, I think, whatever route you go down. But you can start to take some mini goals, take some mini steps, get that confidence, experience that nothing bad has happened and that you lived through it. And then you'll start to rewire your brain. You'll start to gain more confidence to take bigger steps to step out your comfort zone. Okay, so again, taking action is really, really important. That's number 2. Number 3, just realize that so many of our fears are neither really good or really bad. So much about predicting the future is unknown, and all we really have is the present moment. So, great way to illustrate this is the parable of the Chinese farmer. So I'm going to paraphrase it. So please don't berate me for skimming over the details, but I think this is such a good story to show how we don't know if anything is really going to be good or bad. Like with weight restoration, do you really know if it's going to be all good or all bad? So the parable of the Chinese farmer the parable goes, the farmer has some horses, the horses run away, okay? Everyone in the village says, oh my God, that's so terrible, you've lost your horses. And the farmer says, maybe, he's not reacting. It's not like this is really good, this is really bad. Okay, the next day, the horses come back and they bring with them some other horses. And everyone says, oh my God, you're so lucky. You've got these extra horses now. That's amazing for you. And again, the farmer says, maybe. He's not like jumping on the back of the good news, or the day before, he wasn't responding to the negative news that he had possibly lost his horses. He was just going with the flow of life. Okay, so then the farmer's son starts to ride and break in one of these new horses. He gets thrown from the horse and breaks his leg. So again, all the villagers say to him, oh my God, this is so terrible. Your son has broken his leg. And the farmer says, well, maybe. Again, it's not good. It's not bad. And then the following day, the army officers come round. They are wanting the son to sign up and go off in the army, fight in the war. But because he's got a broken leg, he doesn't have to go. So again, the villagers say, oh my God, you're so lucky. Your son doesn't have to go. And again, the farmer says, maybe. And I think this is a great little story because it shows we never really know what is all good and what is all bad. And our human minds try to judge things so much and anticipate what is going to happen, try to control things, work out every scenario. But actually, we don't really know in life what is going to happen. You don't know from one day to the next. And part of the process of living and including weight restoration, recovery, it's about embracing some of that uncertainty and trusting a bit more in life and trusting that the things are working out one bit at a time, and you don't really know if something's all good and all bad, and your brain might be telling you one thing or the other, but you don't really know that that's true. Okay, number 4. So sometimes I will say to my clients, think about being on an island with your anorexia, your eating disorder. Let's call it skinny island. You are thin. There are certain good things about that. Maybe you feel a sense of achievement, some validation. You're numbing your feelings. It feels safe, etc. Okay, you're on this island. And also, this island is not terribly great. It's also sinking into the sea because of anorexia island, eating disorder island. It's not that glamorous. It's cold. You're thinking about food all the time. You're withdrawn. You're isolated from your friends. You're not functioning as your full and flourishing self. Now, when you look out to sea, what people will often do is look across at an island where they have been before. Okay, so it might be, and this is going to be slightly different for everyone, but for some people, they will look across at the other island and they will see an island where they were once before. And that island will be, let's call it, in a really difficult place with food island. Maybe they were in a very bingy place with food. Maybe they really disliked their body. Maybe they were really low in mood. Maybe lots of difficult things were going on. They just didn't feel good in themselves. And whenever they think about leaving anorexia island or skinny island, whatever you want to call it, eating disorder island, they look across at this other island, across the sea, and they associate any weight change, any change is going to be going back to that place where they feel like that was just not a good place for me and I do not want to go back there. So sometimes it can feel like, although the eating disorder island is not great, it's still in some respects better than where you were before and it's helping you cope. Okay, so what I say to people is actually recovery is about finding a new island, a whole new place. Okay, it's a place probably where you haven't been before. Recovery Island is a sort of sweet spot for you. Recovery Island is where you are nourishing yourself, you're taking care of yourself, you're valuing yourself, you have good relationships, you are hopefully doing a job or studying that you enjoy. It has many, many great aspects to it. And at the moment, maybe you just don't know how to get there, because I guess on the healthy sweet spot island, it's about having healthy strategies for coping. You know, it's about talking about your feelings. It's about really looking after yourself. It's about valuing yourself. It's about having boundaries in your relationships, all of these things. So sometimes I'm saying to my clients, you need to almost start to create this third place. Recovery is not about going back to a place that you were in before, where you felt depressed, anxious, you didn't like your body, things weren't great. It's about creating a new place. And when you're on Eating Disorder Island and you're looking out to sea, it can feel really scary, really overwhelming. You have no idea how you're going to get there. It can feel just like, how am I actually ever going to do this? But it is possible, okay? And you're probably going to need to get in the boat and start paddling. And it's going to be a bit of an up and down journey. But the potential to get to a whole new place, better than you have been in before, is absolutely possible. And I think that is really, really important to hold on to. And it's unknown, it's uncertain, it's scary, but potentially it can be so much better than this anorexia eating disorder island where you are sinking into the sea or going back to where you were before. But you don't have to go back to where you were before. So some of my clients find that really helpful. Take from that what is helpful for you. Okay, number 5, really work on calming your nervous system, getting into a place of soothing yourself more and more and really self-caring. Now, if you've got an eating disorder, you probably spend a lot of time in fight, flight, flooded with adrenaline even, and cortisol. And you probably spend a lot of time in the sort of striving, dopamine-driven system where you're always busy all the time. And you probably don't spend a lot of time in soothing, where you can feel calm, where it's driven more by oxytocin, where you feel peaceful. Now, when you're in the more self-soothe place, you're able to access so much more of your wisdom, your rational mind, your calm, your intelligence, all the things. Because, when you're in fight flight or just pushing yourself relentlessly all the time in the striving system, it's hard to see the wood for the trees, really, because you're in survival. So implementing self-soothing and starting to rest and look after yourself is such an important part of recovery. And if you have an eating disorder and you're watching this, you probably feel like, that feels really, really difficult for me. But it's just starting really small. And to think about this is thinking about utilizing the 5 senses to help you soothe. So, sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. And I guess what is one person's self-soothing heaven is another person's nightmare. So you've got to really think about what works for you. Now, I know for me, I like being out in nature and seeing lots of green and hearing the sounds of birds and being somewhere really peaceful, smelling the fresh spring smells. All of those things make me feel very soothed. And I'm not talking about going on a big march for miles and miles. I probably spend 15 minutes a day, perhaps outside or going for a walk. But that makes a big difference to helping me feel soothed, helping me feel peaceful, getting away from screens, all the things. Sometimes it might be listening to a piece of music. It might be having a mindful cup of tea. It might be sitting down and resting. It might be reading a book. I know for myself at the moment, I'm just trying to read a bit more before I go to bed every night, even if it's for 15 minutes, rather than watching a screen right up until bedtime. It's just those little things that will help calm and soothe your nervous system. And then the more you spend time in that self-soothed, calm place, you can access your wisdom so much better. Okay, we're nearly there. Number 6. Validation from others. So it's a reality that if you are thinner in our culture, you will get more validation from others. But the place you want to get to in recovery is really getting grounded in yourself and knowing in a way that you feeling good, you nourishing yourself, you really backing yourself is way more important than anyone coming up to you and saying, oh my God, how do you stay so thin? How do you do it? Because if you think about it, even if 20 people say that to you, and if people are saying that to you, they're going to have their own struggles with food and body image. But even if 20 people say that to you, that might temporarily make you feel a bit better. But actually that validation is like sticking a plaster over a big wound, because if inside you're feeling preoccupied with food, cold, alone, tired, isolated, in a not a good place, no amount of external validation is really gonna fill your cup, and make you feel better. So it's starting to really realize that validation that we often seek, that approval that we seek from others, is not really worth it. Okay, anyone that validates you so much for how you look and how thin you are, that's saying more about them than about you. Okay, what you want to be doing is really valuing yourself for you, honoring your needs, tuning into your emotions, looking after yourself, taking care of yourself, having people in your life that lift you up, spending your time and energy doing things that make you feel inspired and motivated. This is where you want to be getting your good feelings from and that internal place, rather than what other people around you say. So it is a reality that people will validate your thinner body more, but so what? I kind of think, gosh, would I rather be like back to my anorexia weight and walking around and maybe people validating me, but not able to do my job, not able to parent my children, not able to do all the things that are really important to me? Or would I rather be in my full energy, nourishing myself, looking after myself, self-caring, and really in my creative process and really generating those feelings from within? I mean, when we sort of put it like that, I think it becomes much more clear. Okay. Number 7 is really leaning into self-trust and knowing that you will handle whatever life throws at you. Okay. Now, you have been through hard times in your life. You probably, for most humans, probably like ups and downs, an emotional roller coaster at different times, but you have survived many things. You can talk to your friends and give them good advice, and you can probably talk to yourself around non-eating disorder things and have a certain level of self-trust and self-awareness. Now, you have that wisdom and trust within yourself that you can access at any time. I just want to say to you that you will be able to handle the weight restoration journey. Okay, it might be like getting on a roller coaster with numerous ups and downs. You might have a few meltdowns along the way. You might sometimes feel like this is so overwhelming, I can't possibly do it, I want to give up. However, you can work on your thoughts, you can deal with your feelings. If you have a meltdown, you will get through it. Okay, it's all part of the process. And even if you have a meltdown and you feel like everything is just terrible and you cry on the floor for 2 hours, that will pass. You will get through it. You are resourceful. You can access tools to really help yourself with this. You can get your support network to really champion you and cheer you on. You can create an environment where it will be so much easier for yourself. And I'm not saying it's an easy journey, but I'm just saying that you can do it, and to really lean into that self-trust as well, because when you know that you've walked that journey and you have survived it, you're going to have really built a really good, strong battery of self-trust and resilience that no one can take that away from you. Okay, and that is such a good feeling, and that is so much better than any external validation or anyone telling you what to do when you have walked that path and you have learned how to do it. So hope that's been helpful. Thank you so much for watching and listening. If you are on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're on audio, please follow, rate and review. You might want to check out my Food Freedom app. It's got 20% off at the moment. Thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to sharing another podcast episode with you very soon.